Greetings, Humanist Service, and all the good people here, in person here in Tulsa, and also in our online community. Thank you for being here. Grace is one of the most powerful forces in the universe. Grace is unmerited favor, love and forgiveness given not as a reward for good deeds or a promise of future behavior, but as a gift. Its power lies in its ability to transform us and to restore harmony within ourselves, with others, and with life itself. In essence, grace is a salve that heals the brokenness in our hearts, our communities, and our world. I don't have to look any farther than my own home and marriage to see the power of grace manifested every day. The fact I found anyone to love and accept this neurotic goofball with all my shenanigans is all the evidence of grace I need. So with much love and gratitude, thank you, my family and Emily. Today I want to share how I've come to understand grace from three perspectives: the Christian tradition, existential philosophy, and Greek mythology. If you look with me through these lenses, together we'll see how grace reveals the inherent beauty and love present in the world. Together we will see how grace inspires us to share that transcendent love and mercy with others. Let's begin with a Christian understanding of grace. My first encounter with grace was in my religious upbringing. As a refugee of fundamentalism, I've since moved beyond many of those teachings. But one profound lesson stayed with me: grace as the antidote to human brokenness. I was taught that all people are fallible and imperfect, and that sometimes we harm others and ourselves through our actions. Christianity offered grace as a remedy, not because of human worthiness, but because of divine love. This idea is beautifully illustrated in Victor Hugo's masterpiece, Les Misérables. And, by the way, it's showing in the Performing Arts Center coming up in a couple of weeks, so if you haven't seen it, I encourage you to do so. Jean Valjean, hardened by 19 years of imprisonment for stealing bread, is shown a radical act of mercy by a church bishop. After the bishop gives him food and shelter, Valjean, full of bitterness at his lot in life, steals the church's silver and flees, but is subsequently apprehended by the police. Instead of confirming Valjean's villainy, the bishop tells the police that he had gifted the silver to Valjean. He then encourages Valjean to live a life worthy of grace. The bishop's grace and mercy transformed Jean Valjean's life, inspiring him to become a force for good. He builds a business to help others, rescues a child from neglect, and becomes an agent of compassion and mercy. This story captures the transformative power of grace. Valjean becomes a beacon of love and mercy to others only after receiving love and compassion when it was least deserved. Grace inspires grace. For those who don't hold to Christian theology, grace still has profound meaning. Existential philosophers like Sartre, Heidegger, and Tillich explored how humans often fall short of their own ideals. And we all do sometimes, don't we? For the existentialists, without the framework of a divine judge, we are left with only ourselves. We alone are responsible for our choices and the brokenness we create. This self-awareness of the ways we fall short of our own ideals can lead to profound despair, a sense of being overwhelmed by our flaws, mistakes, and the suffering caused by human wickedness and imperfection. Yet despite the burden of this responsibility and the reality of the suffering we've caused ourselves and others, Existentialism points us to the ubiquity of beauty, goodness, and love in nature and in humanity. Grace is in the soft breeze on a steamy summer day, the dancing butterfly in a field of lavender, the falling star on a moonless night, and in the unexpected kindness of a stranger. Furthermore, the existentialists, like the Buddha, taught about the impermanence of all things, reminding us that with change as the one thing we can depend on, and without the assurance of an afterlife, each moment is precious and full of grace. Even the darkest moments will pass. It is what we do with this present moment that matters most. Grace in this context is the light that emerges from life's darkest places. There is the problem of evil, but also the manifestation of good. As Fred Rogers said, quoting his mother, "Where there is suffering, look for the helpers, look for the good." Grace teaches us that, despite our flaws and failures, life offers us beauty, healing, and hope, unearned and unexpected. In this way, grace restores our humanity. It calls us to take responsibility for our lives, not with shame or guilt, but with the understanding that in our imperfections, or even because of them, we can create beauty and love in the world. We are capable of receiving and responding with grace. Like we heard in Francia's beautiful song, with kintsugi pottery, the Japanese art of enhancing the beauty of broken objects by repairing them with gold, our broken parts and imperfections reveal beauty as they are enhanced by grace from others, from life, and from our own self-compassion. No exploration of grace would be complete without a nod to Greek mythology. This is the humanist service, after all. The three graces, euphrosyne, meaning joyful radiance, algeia, meaning splendor and beauty, and thalia, meaning abundance and fruitfulness. These three graces embodied the qualities of joy, beauty, and creativity. They were attendants to the gods, bringing cheer and charm to their gatherings. The graces symbolized the flowering of life, the moments of wonder and beauty that sustain us even in dark times, as they did for Aphrodite after she was called out for infidelity. The myths remind us that grace is not only a human quality, but an inherent part of the universe. It appears in the natural world, the bloom of spring flowers, the quiet stillness after a snowfall, the vastness of the ocean, and the glorious panoply of stars in our night sky. And grace appears in the human world, in a child's laughter or a loved one's embrace. Grace reveals itself in acts of love, kindness, and creativity, moments that remind us of the beauty and abundance of life all around us. When we embody this grace, it changes how we live. Acknowledging the unearned gifts of life, such as our relationships, the beauty of nature, and the simple joys of existence, encourages us to share that same generosity with others. Like the three graces, we are called to bring light, beauty, love, and creativity into the world. Grace is not passive. It invites us to act. When we experience grace, we are compelled to share it, to pay it forward. We have all received grace in our lives, perhaps forgiveness we didn't deserve, or kindness when we least expected it. Moments of grace inspire us to respond with compassion. As we face challenges, division, injustice, and suffering, grace calls us to respond not with judgment and anger, but with love. This doesn't mean we ignore wrongdoing or injustice. It means we strive for justice through love, through compassion, seeking to heal rather than to harm, and seeing the beauty in every soul, in every moment. I want to invite you to do 3 things during this month as we explore the theme of grace together. You may even want to write these down. Number 1, reflect on grace in your own life. Recall a moment when you received grace. How did it affect you? What happened inside you as you experienced that? Number 2, practice self-compassion. Our guilt or shame rarely help anyone. Show yourself grace for your flaws and mistakes. Forgive yourself as you forgive others. Healing begins within. As Brené Brown says, I am imperfect, but I am enough. Number 3, extend grace to others. In moments of conflict or judgment, ask yourself, how can I respond with mercy and love? Will my actions increase grace in the world or diminish it? As you do these things, celebrate life's grace. Look for the beauty and joy in every day, even in the small things, or especially in the small things. Look around you. Look within. Beauty is everywhere. Let it remind you of the abundance and generosity of life. In conclusion, the spiritual teacher Adyashanti wrote, "Grace is all around us, if we only have eyes to see it. The good moments are grace, and the confusing moments are grace. When we can begin to open enough to realize that there is grace in every situation, in each person we meet, no matter how easy or difficult we perceive them to be, our hearts will flower. And we'll be able to express the peace and the love that each of us has within us." Grace is a force that heals brokenness and reveals the beauty and love in the world. Whether we find it in religious traditions, philosophical ideas, or the natural world, grace inspires us to live with greater love and mercy. It calls us to be agents of healing and transformation, to celebrate the gift of life and to share its abundance with others. I hope that something I've shared helps you see or reminds you how grace reveals the beauty and love that is present in the world. If you look for it, you will find it. I also hope that you'll be inspired to share it widely and freely. Thank you.